Hi guys, Chris here, certified RV technician for Unique Camping and Marine. You may be watching this video because you're currently experiencing a clog in one of your sinks or in your shower in your RV. We're going to be walking through how to clear a clog in a bunch of different situations, so let's get started. So when it comes to the plumbing inside of your RV, at least, which drains your sinks and oftentimes your shower and bathtubs, there are two primary different kinds of traps which are installed in your RV. There are P-traps, which have a P-bend in them, and they are filled with water, which will create a vapor barrier to keep odors, which might back up from the gray water holding tank and come up through the sink. That is the purpose of the water sitting inside of this trap, and the P shape is why it is called a P-trap. And then in newer RVs, they're starting to use this style of trap, which is called a Hepvo waterless trap. And instead of using water inside of it, it basically has a diaphragm, which will allow for water to only flow one way and will keep supposedly odors from backing into it without the use of water. These are used in applications where there's not enough room. As you can see, it is much lower profile than the P-trap is. And so you would have this installed if there was not enough room in your RV for a P-trap, but P-traps are still used in modern RVs as well. If you find yourself with a clog and you open up the cabinet and see a P-trap underneath the sink that is clogged up, or if you remove a dead panel in front of a shower or the bathtub and you find a P-trap beyond there, some of the best tools which you can use to clear the clog for P-traps only are going to be tools like this one, which has little grabbers on it in order to grab hair. There is this style, which has it's flexible but has a little extendable arm which comes out in order to grab things. This one's a little bit funky to use, but we'll walk you through that as well. And you can use a more traditional style snake, which can be fed down the drain and then spun with the handle here in order to grab hold of anything which might be inside of the drain and then pull it back out. Now, this style of tool, all three of these are not very good for use with the Hepvo style valve, and we'll show you exactly why here in the next little bit. Now, if you happen to look under your sink or shower and find a Hepvo style waterless trap instead of a P-trap, your options are a little bit more limited, but there are certainly ways which you can clear a clog with this style trap as well. A couple of the tools would be plungers. This is a flat-faced plunger and is meant to go against a flat surface such as a tub, a shower, or the inside of a sink. This is meant more for a toilet bowl given the conical nature of this area. However, it can be converted into a sink style just by folding in the little bellows on the inside of it. Another tool which can be used to help clear a clog with a Hepvo style trap is going to be this device, which can be fed down into the sink if you are able to remove the sink catch, which is meant to catch hair and stuff like that inside of there. A lot of the times you'll have to do some disassembly in order to get a tool like this inside. This will allow you to blow water through the Hepvo style valve without doing damage to the diaphragm inside. So we got some mixed results when it came to using the little expandable bladder. If you're able to shove it as far into the pipe as you possibly can, we got it to push one of the clogs through and into the gray tank, but it was kind of hit or miss. So use that tool at your own discretion. It also made a huge mess when it came to the water. So if you've got a clog, a lot of the times it can start to form right here at the first bend in the P-trap. And using this grabber style of tool, all you have to do is feed it down into the pipe and then work it around in order to try to grasp hold of the clog. And it might take a couple of different tries, but you can usually clip hold of it and then slowly pull the clog up and out. and there's the clog removed from there. Sometimes you have to twist the tool around in order to get the correct angle on it. And just remember, we've got a very big luxury here in having a clear pipe. In your own RV, you will not have a clear pipe, so this is all going to be done using feel. Again, I like to shove this down, and sometimes you end up pushing the clog a little further down into the P-trap, and that's okay. But I also like to twist the handle of this in order to get it wrapped around the clog so I can pull it free and up and out. Again, twisting this tool is a really good way to try to get as many teeth onto the clog as possible in order to remove it. So for the little grabber style, this can be a little bit more frustrating than the other one. The reason why is because if you get the little claws to pull completely inside of the tool, you're basically going to let go of the clog. So you're going to want to hold the clog with the little fingers sticking out. So this might take a little bit of practice in order to actually get a hold of the clog. So I like to stick it down, open it up fully, and then gently release the tool in order to grasp hold of it, and then slowly pull it out. This can be a really helpful tool to get the clog closer to the end of the pipe so then you can switch to the other tool. This tool came as a set, so you can use both tools in order to accomplish this. But if I go and I just put the tool on here and then completely extract it, sometimes it holds on great and sometimes it just pops free. So just be cautious of that when you are using this style of tool in order to pull things out, is that as soon as you go to pull on it, if you don't have this held in place, a lot of the times it'll just pop free and you'll lose the clog. The next style of tool which we have is a more traditional snake. And this one we're just going to feed down inside there and then begin rotating it in order to hook the clog on the end of this. Now it is much easier to do this when the plumbing is not floppy like this is. So let me push it in there a little bit further. Again, in a lot of instances, especially because you cannot see the clog like you can with this pipe, you're going to be going entirely off of feel in order to get this clog resolved. So I'm going to turn this bit around in order to try to thread the little end of this deeper into the clog and then hopefully pull it free. This tool takes a couple of tries as well. Almost all of these take a few tries in order to get the clog fully sorted out. And there you have it. Again, a lot of these take many tries in order to get it done. So just be patient and take your time when it comes to trying to clear a clog with any one of these tools. Again, you won't be able to see it, and it will take several tries in order to fully grasp hold of the clog and pull it free from the drain. Another and one of the most effective ways to deal with a clog inside of the P-trap is to simply disassemble the plumbing in order to remove the P-trap and then rinse it out manually. So this would typically be attached to either a sink or to the bottom of a shower. So this piece would remain in place and I would just undo this nut and then undo the other side of the P-trap so you can remove the entire bend. And then we will take the P-trap over to a sink, dump the water out, and then it's sometimes as easy as just rinsing it out, or I can just reach my finger inside there and pull out the clog, and then we will put the P-trap back together again. After the clog has been cleared, we can reassemble it, and as you can see there's this wedge shape right here which fits into this end of it in order to create the seal. So we'll want to line that up and then tighten it in place with the little nut. Get it nice and snug, but you don't really want to wrench on this. I never use tools when it comes to taking apart P-traps. For this side, we've got about the same sort of a thing, except for this one's got a little movable washer sort of gasket inside there. So we set that to the right height, And then we will tighten down our nut on this end, like so. And then the final step after you have reassembled the P-trap, after you've taken it apart to clean something out of it, you're going to want to fill the P-trap full of water, but you're also going to want to leak test this as well. One of my favorite ways to do this is to put a stopper in the sink, let it fill up a little bit of the ways. I would say maybe about 1/3 of the way full. Make sure that you've got some towels underneath there just in case you didn't get something tight all of the way. Remove the stopper and allow that water to flow into the P-trap. This will check for leaks along the way, and if you have any drips whatsoever, you're going to want to address them and retighten everything. Then repeat the process again. Once you've done that, you should have no leaks, no drips whatsoever, and you should then have plenty of water inside of the P-trap. Sometimes the clog gets pushed past the P-trap and gets stuck further on down the line. Now, when it comes to all of these different tools, you're limited by the amount of length which you have with them. So sometimes it's extremely helpful to remove the P-trap altogether and then use one of these tools up through the bottom of the pipe in order to try and pull the clog free and out the bottom. If you find that you have a Hepvo style waterless trap, by far your best method for getting it unclogged if it happens to be in the trap itself is going to be by simply disassembling it. Again, typically you would want to have towels underneath your sink to keep from making a big mess. But as you can see here, we've got a clog which is stuck in the bladder of the valve itself. Sometimes all you need to do is undo one side and pull it free. But if necessary, you can undo the entire Hepvo style waterless trap itself, remove it, pick out whatever's inside there and run some water through it. So sometimes you might have this Hepvo style valve removed and you see that the clog itself is not able to be reached to be pulled out by your finger from either side of it. As you can see on this side, it's kind of holding open the diaphragm on the exit point of it. A way which you can get the clog free from there is by taking something like the end of a plunger or something with a gently rounded end on it. You don't want anything sharp going inside there, and you can gently push the clog free and then run some water through it in order to ensure that you have completely cleared the clog from the Hepvo style valve before you reinstall it. Now, if you have taken this piece out of there, pay special attention to the marking on the side of it where it has an arrow showing flow, and make sure that this is pointing towards the downside of the drain. If you install this backwards, it will not flow correctly, and they are pretty easy to install backwards. So just be sure that you pay attention to this. I highlighted this one with a marker to show better on camera where the flow is for this, but you're gonna wanna make sure that it is flowing towards the actual gray water holding tank. So there it is back installed again, and now we're going to show you why it's a bad idea to use some of the other tools which are safe for P-traps but not safe for Hepvo style valves. As it gets pulled through, it will catch the diaphragm and pull it back out, and you run a really high risk of not getting it straight through ever again. You also run an extremely high risk of it catching and tearing the diaphragm itself. The same can be true for the little expando teeth one. It pushes through just fine, and sometimes you can get it through correctly, but if you've got yourself a clog on the other end of it, the diaphragm itself will pull the clog free, and it will just always remain stuck on the other side of the diaphragm. The final tool which can be damaging to one of the Hepvo style valves is the snake. The very sharp and pointy end of the snake will most certainly get caught on the diaphragm itself, not when it gets pushed through, but oftentimes when the clog is actually attached onto there, it can easily catch and pull free on the diaphragm. So one of your best weapons you have at your disposal is avoiding clogs to begin with. And you can do that by using strainers over each and every one of the sinks and shower drains in order to catch any hair and as much of the soaps and shampoos which might make it down there. It's also a great idea to scrape your dishes into the trash or just use disposable plates when having larger meals with lots of people. So there you have it. Hopefully this has helped you deal with a clog of your own, which you might be struggling with in your own RV. And if you're not struggling with one now, hopefully it gives you some insight on how to avoid them in the future. Thank you so much for watching. And if you're interested to, please hit the like and subscribe button, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye guys.